Hello and welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. And today we're having a Laphroaig tasting with Mark here, and you're the German brand ambassador of Laphroaig.
That's right. Hi, Ben.
Hi. I think we already have you one time on the channel already for, what was that, at the Finest Spirits in Munich. We had,
Of course, we had an interview there.
Yeah, we already had that. But just to introduce you, you are 25 years with the spirits business, I would say. Mm-hmm. So happy anniversary!
Thank you.
Yeah,
I know you can see it.
And you are really an expert for Laphroaig. So you are brand ambassador for just Laphroaig.
Yes, I'm the face of Laphroaig in Germany, as they say.
So yeah, so he will bring us a lot about Laphroaig, and compared to the last Laphroaig tasting, we have changed the bottlings a bit. So what kind of bottlings are we having today?
Yeah, we start with a 10 years old standard with 40% ABV. Then we go over to Laphroaig 10 years old original cask strength. From this year, it's batch 16 with 58.5% of ABV. And then finally, last but not least, the Laphroaig 10 years old Sherry Oak finish with 48% ABV.
Nice. And I've seen already in the comments, sound is not that great today. That is because we have just updated to Windows 11 and have a bit of a problem with the sound, and we had to kind of go back to the sound within the cameras, and now we have a little bit of an echo going on there, but we couldn't manage the sound with the with our mixer. So I'm sorry, we are trying our best to fix it next time, but we don't have the time to fix it right now.
Yeah, just drink more whiskey.
But I think I've heard it in the German stream, people could handle with it, so just bear with us. And so the first thing I want to go with is Laphroaig. What is Laphroaig?
Yeah, by the name it's Gaelic, and if I translate it, it means something like the beautiful hollow at the White Bay. Which marks the place where Laphroaig is based, where the distillery is based. Since we started, officially founded 1815, and we are on the whiskey island of Islay, which is part of the Inner Hebrides. It's the most southerly island of the Hebrides, and whiskey island because we have 9 distilleries in production there at the moment. By next year will be 11, so that will add up all the time. There's a few projects coming on, and we are on the south side of the island, just when you come out of Port Ellen.
Yeah, and I've been to Islay, I think now 2 or 3 times.
Just?
Yes, but I've visited pretty much all of the distilleries. Yeah, the thing is, if you want to visit it, there is a flight to Islay as well. So if you don't want to drive there and see the scenery while driving, or have the ferry ride there, because the ferry ride is also very nice. If you go to Port Ellen, you can actually have a really nice view to Laphroaig. And
that's right.
Yeah, so there is a nice flight out there, because the drive from Glasgow is, I think, 3 hours, and then 2.5 hours of ship ride as well.
2 hours of for the ferry, and we have a Scottish airline. It's called Logan Air, which supplies all the islands, and so you can book a flight there, and from Glasgow, or Glasgow as we say sometimes, you will be in about 20-25 minutes on Islay. Because we have our own airport there, of course.
The thing with the plane is also, the plane is more weather resistant than the ship. The ship have more no-going ships due to weather than the plane. So they have 3 runways, so if they have heavy wind, they can just fly against the wind, and that's easy then.
Yeah, and a ship always relies on the waves. So.
Yeah. And also there's a lot of breakdowns with these ships.
Yeah, they are not so at the moment the ferries which are run by Caledon McBray are not in everybody's favor at the moment.
Yeah. So what is really interesting is last time I checked, we had 2.7 million liters of production. Not quite sure if I've just misheard that because I've been there pretty recently, but you have more recent figures there.
Yeah, I mean, that figure of 3.3 million, and that's always alcohol by 100%, because you take barley in with the measurement of alcohol is 100%, and then the output will be at 100% as well. That's when we absolutely fully flat out and under full production.
Yeah, so if you have a little breakdown, it always comes down. So this is the
happens
the
from time to
maximum
time.
capacity.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've heard rumors that there is talk about expanding the distillery.
Yes, will be coming. I can't talk too much about it, but it's not a rumor because our distillery manager Barry McAfee, he speaks freely of it. Mentioned it on his tour as well, because we need bigger capacity. We become so favorable around the world with our peat monster, so we need to produce more.
Yeah, more production is always good. If you don't have, if you don't sell the stuff right at the start, then the whiskey always becomes older and better, and that is always good for everyone. Yeah, older whiskey is just
see this way.
yeah. So talking about old, the distillery is very, very old. You have on the label here it says 1815. That is way before the what was that, the Whiskey Distilling Act of, what was it, 1824 or something?
Something like that.
Yeah. So how come that is 1815?
We started earlier, and I think we talked about that earlier. The official year for being registered was 1826, about that. So we didn't pay tax for about 9 years.
I want to do that as well.
Yeah, that time's over.
Yeah. So your official opening was 1815, and you had the anniversary, I think, 2015, with 200 years of Laphroaig. And the cool thing about Laphroaig is it's actually a royal whiskey as well.
Yeah, it's a royal one because we have the royal warrant, and you see that on every bottle, on every tube or box. There's the official label of Prince Charles, now King Charles, and this is what we call the royal warrant. You can actually look that up on the internet. It's under royal warrant, and you see all the companies who have the license to be the supplier of the British House in British Royals in London.
What is very interesting is the royal warrant is not by the Queen; it is by the Prince of Wales.
Yes.
And now Prince Charles is not the Prince of Wales anymore, but the King of England or Great Britain. I think Great Britain.
Great Britain and colonies.
Or the United Kingdom, well, that's what they call him. Yeah, he's the King of the United Kingdom. And so his royal warrant is kind of now in a phase of switching or something like that, or I'm not quite sure.
It's not 100% decided yet. I think it's a really long process. So you see, that's a new packaging, and the label is already is still on it. So there might be changes coming, but it's not decided yet.
I think you are still allowed. You're in a transition phase, and you're still allowed to do it. But I'm really excited what will happen. Will it be his son, the Prince of Wales now, or will it be him?
Yeah, something like that will be.
So my guess would also be King Charles will, as he comes regularly to the distillery, he will probably make it as King Warrant now.
Yeah, maybe something like that, because he King Charles loves Laphroaig, as we all know, and I think you can't take it off him. He will not allow it. He will not allow it.
Yeah, and I'm really excited if he will visit the distillery when you get the new warrant granted. If he will just come there like, oh yeah, exchange the plaque or something. I don't know.
Something will be done, I think, but it's not decided yet.
Yeah. Okay, so let's have the first one. We are talking about the 10 years old, and the 10 years old currently on Whisky.com. If you order from the Netherlands, you get a little bit of an extra if you order
A bundle.
A bundle. You get a little bit of a freebie.
Our beautiful socks. It is written on it. It's so peaty it blows your socks off.
That is just cool.
It's the nicest giveaway item we have, actually. I love the socks. And if I'm not wearing a kilt, I'm wearing the socks under my trousers all the time. They're good quality.
They feel good.
Good quality.
Really good, yeah.
They last quite long.
Yeah, so I really like them. I'll wear them as well.
Hopefully.
That will be a little bit of an exception because I don't have the body rules for socks. I have all socks are buddies with each other because I have just one kind of socks.
That's true.
Just one kind of socks.
One kind of socks. Okay.
And then you don't have to match the socks anymore. Everybody matches with everybody.
That's quite clever. That's quite clever.
So maybe I need to get more of these socks then.
Well, I brought you some over. I brought you some more.
Good. So yeah, let's get a little bit of our whiskey going here.
You've got so many socks now, you don't even have to mention it to your team. You can keep on and say it yourself.
Now that you mention it, they watch the video.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah. So yeah, you can order it for around 30, 36, 37 bucks on Whisky.com if you live in the Netherlands, and you will get the socks for two.
For free.
For free. That the 10-year-old is kind of the entry level. I've seen 40% and bourbon cask maturation, right?
Yeah, it's 100% ex-bourbon cask. Is what we, as we call it, our signature product, because the peat really stands out. And of course, it's our top seller, which also pays my salary. Yeah. And I know it's diluted down to industry standard of 40%, so that's the minimum what the law says. And but it's also one of the peatiest we have in the range because the peat really comes out with that high amount of water. And if you sniff it,
I almost forgot to mention you changed a little bit of style, and there is a bit of a background behind that.
Yeah, it's a new facing now. And I quite like because the change is so nicely done because it still looks a little bit old. Yeah, it's not this new style. It is a new style, but we kept it in an old tradition way as well. The bottle is lighter. There is not as much glass than in the bottles before, which helps us by weight when we handle the goods.
And also by producing the bottle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the cork doesn't come with a top of plastic anymore. It's actually wood. And as you might recognize it already, so if you love the tube, as we all do, unfortunately this will change from bottling to bottling in the next future. We already started with the 10 years old and with Select, which is now Oak Select. So the tin, we are now very sufficient.
Phasing out,
on the way, because we don't want that somebody from the officials are coming and say, so now you have to get rid of this and that, and then we can say, no, we don't have to, because we already did.
Yeah.
So the tube will disappear as well, because you have metal on the top, metal on the bottom. With cardboard is quite very thick. And so we have a normal.
It's an environmental friendly measurement to take to do the cardboard box. But I had to check the cardboard box because we are an online shipping company, and the cardboard box is always a vital thing, and this is a good one. Because we know if you have a window at the front, big windows at the front are really bad. because if you ship it, then you always have ribs in it. But this one, it has been shipped to us from our storage, and it came perfectly splendidly.
Cool.
I think it will be the same as good as with the tube ones. That is always good because it always disappoints people when you get such a nice bottle and then you have a rip in it.
It's always a pain in the neck, and you can store far better than a tube. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A box you can always store better. Well, not privately, but.
Good. Enough about box. It's going about the whiskey.
Yeah, let's talk about the main thing.
Oh yeah, it is very, very smoky. It has that nice, smoky, marine, phenolic touch to it. For me, this one is a little bit of herby as well now. At the first one, it was very medicinal, a little bit of a hospital touch to it. But now it comes out okay, medicinal, but like herby medicinal.
Okay. Yes, it's very got that earthy style as well. And then if you close your eyes and you think you stand on the shore at the distillery, and you smell the Atlantic, you smell seaweed, a little bit of saltiness. This is what the signature of Laphroaig 10 years.
That is the main flavor. You stand at the sea, you have a bit smoked in it, that iodine, that sea salt.
Yeah.
That is the epitome of. But now for me, there is a nuance of a little bit heather and herbs in it. That is cool.
I just love it.
Oh yeah. If you have something, if you have it in your glass, please write down what you are tasting. And it is very intense. It is very intense, but 40%, it's nice.
Yeah. And you will maybe keep some in your. I hope you have more than just one glass on your desk in front of you. Keep some in the glass, because when we go over to Laphroaig Cask Strength, it's absolutely the same product. It's just not diluted down to 40%. It's cask strength with 58.5 as we bring it out of the cask. That's full strength, and so you can compare that, because the same product just without adding the water, and you will be surprised what the difference is. Yeah, because the peat comes not as much out in the cask strength than it does in the version with 40%, because water brings out more peat as well.
That is strange. I've seen that with so many whiskies when you have some cask strength or some higher strength whiskey and you add some water, and it brings out the smokiness.
Sometimes it feels the alcohol knocks down the phenols, the peat a little bit. Yeah,
something like that. Yeah, I always described it with the dilution, and it releases the phenols, but you can displace it as well. Yeah. So good. That was the 10-year-old, and let's talk a little bit about the main thing that's going on with Laphroaig, and that is the malting. And here we see the malting floors of Laphroaig. And you have two active malting floors right above each other. I was there. I could see people just emptying malting floor. Didn't think that is such a big deal to empty it. They had to run forth, and
there's a lot of labor.
Push it.
It's hard labor.
Yeah.
They have machines now.
Yeah.
It's easier to do than in the past with just using your hands, but it is hard labor. We have a team of normally 4 overlooking the whole process for the whole week, and they're doing a fantastic job. But it costs us a lot of money. But we need to do a content of 20% of our malt ourselves over our own peat fire, because we use our peat from our peat bock, and this is so important. The other 80% will be at the moment will be bought by Port Ellen Maltings, which is not so far away. And they malt it by our recipe as well.
Yeah.
And but we have to do that 20% malt ourselves over our peat fire, because if this would be not taking place, and we would buy 100% of the malt ourselves or that from the outside, then the characteristic what gives us the difference with that 20%, that will be missed out on the end. Yeah, and we can't have that, of course. That's why we have to do those big efforts.
Yeah, we have a question: how many ppms on the Laphroaig 10?
Well, it's Laphroaig in general. I mean, the ppm will be measured in the barley, in the malt, and we talk about 50, 60 ppm.
Yeah,
but it can vary quite a lot. I've seen that when I worked at Laphroaig myself, which I was very surprised at. But everything will be batched together on the end.
Yeah.
So it will level out again.
Yeah.
So you can think of 50, 60 ppm.
So let's have a look at the peat. And this is one of the peats, and peat is very interesting because peat is not even. The peat that you see at the very top is, I don't know, 100, 200, 300, 500 years old. If you go below a meter, it's above 1,000 years old and a lot more compressed.
Yeah.
This one should be more from the top. And what you can see with the peat that you have is that you have a lot of heather there.
Yeah.
A lot of roots in there.
A lot of other herbs as well, but heather is the main thing in it. And that comes really far more off the top. We make a difference of 3 different kind of peat in the peat field, just as you said, by layers.
Yeah. Yeah. And you need a lot of peat there.
Yeah. We burn about 2 tons every week. Yeah. And that's quite a lot. And the kiln is always on the go, or more or less. And this is something we also had to look into. Also, that nobody from the officials coming and say you have to do something because of CO2 emissions, because we might be as bad as a big tourist cruiser on the ocean. Yeah, and there's a new machinery putting in place at the moment, and that will help us to get out CO2 out of the peat smoke when it leaves the distillery in the atmosphere.
So a bit of a carbon capture.
Yeah, so, and helps us to get a greener footprint.
But the smoke is very important, and I have a very nice video on just the kiln as it smokes, and it's a really a beautiful when you see it and you're standing in the yard and you smell it.
Yeah. it's fantastic.
Just, and these iconic pagoda-shaped roofs, and most of them are just for show, and this one, when you see it, it's just very, very nice.
Sometimes it's for show. I mean, there is just a hand, maybe 2 hands full of distilleries left in Scotland doing that process, but a lot of the distilleries did that in the past as well. So they kept the pagoda just to show there's a distillery.
Some put it on even they never had us.
Yeah, some did as well, yeah.
But we have a very nice video of that smoke, and this is the process where actually the smokiness gets into the barley and ultimately whiskey. You had told me a nice story about how the smoke gets into the malt and how you can enhance that with the moisture.
Yeah, I mean, this is the end process by doing the maltings. So when I spread that out, that's on the far end, goes on for about 18 hours over peat fire and another 18 hours over warm air, because you have to see to stop the green malt, as we call it, from growing. And when I put it in the kiln here, it is actually is a floor, open floor, just as wide that the corn can't or the barley can't fall down. And underneath you have that kiln fire and warm air with the phenols. The phenols are the chemical substances in the peat which will be freed off when I burn the peat. And those phenols, that's what the peat is all about, where Laphroaig gets its taste from. That goes up with the warm air, and my barley, my green malt has at the start 12 to 15% of moisture content, and that needs to be brought down to 4.5–5% of moisture content. And with that content on the end, the process is stopped. But the problem is, and we do a cold smoking process here. I mean, the flames are a little bit high here, I can imagine.
Yeah, that photo was just taken just before they
put
add
more peat, yeah. Because that's what you don't want. On the end, you can't have the flames going up the whole way. It can burn the green barley, the green malt, and that would be the worst case scenario. So you put always peat on top, that it gets really smoky. And a lot of smoke comes through. You can actually put your hand, well, not at that stage, but in a normal way, when there's enough peat in it, you can put a hand on top of it. It's just warm. And this is what we call a cold smoking process, because the more peat, the more phenols goes up when, and it needs to be when the water content in the malt is, or in the green malt, is on the higher side. Because the green malt just take phenols on when it's moist enough. So when you're more down to the 4.5–5% of moisture content, when the process is stopped, the green malt doesn't take it on anymore. So we use just warm air on the end. But on the beginning, when we have a high moisture content, we do that and cold smoking by not putting really heat in it, just warm air it is. But a lot of phenols, then you actually extract the time, and the green malt takes more and more phenols on and gets very, very peaty.
So the cold process just drags it out longer, getting more intense of that nice peat flavor.
Exactly. If I would do it too quick, and would put a lot of heat in it, and maybe bring the process of 18 hours down to 12 or 6 or 8, it wouldn't be the same anymore. Yeah, it's not good enough. And then for the other 18 hours, we just blow, just to finish the drying process, we just blow in warm air, so we don't need to waste more peat. Yeah, I mean 2 tons a week is plenty already. Yeah. And it's a resource we handle very carefully. Yeah. We actually started to put a lot of money in our hand beginning of this year, and we increased our peat bog. So it's a huge field or huge fields, and by 2030 we will be in the position that we regenerate as much peat as we actually use from other field. To balance that out. I mean, the new fields, nobody of my girls and boys in the distillery will use that one day in the distillery, because by that time we will be all long gone. But it's just to balance out for the future. What we take from one field, we regenerate on another field. It's also part of our sustainability.
Yeah, that is very good. Yes, and
shall we go over to the next one?
Yeah, that would be exciting, because that you told me that is the exact same thing, except you don't dilute it down to 40%.
Exactly, it's the same product.
So it's kind of like one step or less than the other, but the step of watering down, you can do it yourself. So if you water it down, take a water that is very, very low in mineral content. Some tap waters are low in mineral content, but just to be sure, get yourself one of the low mineral waters. A lot of French waters are low in mineral content, Evian and
Vitel or whatever,
how you call them all, but low mineral water, because that might change, minerals might change the taste for the whiskey, and for that it's even almost for the worse.
Yeah, I always say no tap water, no mineral water, just something from natural source.
Yeah, if you live in the Highlands and you have the perfect water
That's
source
different,
that is
that's different.
filtered, or you live in Kentucky and have perfectly filtered
Yeah.
water, then yes, you could do. But I think if you're an American and there's a lot of chlorine in the water, and that
Yeah.
might not be the nicest thing. as well.
Possible.
Yeah. No, okay. So that house has now a lot more alcohol. So if you try it, and if you're a beginner, then you
careful.
might be careful. Water it down a little bit. I will try it first neat.
Yeah, that's what I always recommend. Try it neat. There is a reason why we did it this way, and then you can play around with water anyway. Just use 2-3 drops in the beginning, and then you can add more. You never take water out again.
So it is a lot more gentle on the smoke.
Mm-hmm.
You have
It's more gentle on the peat. Yeah, we have a difference of 18.5% ABV,
Yeah.
which is a lot.
yeah, it's it has it if somehow it's more fruity. Fruity. It has
cereal.
cereal as well.
Like sweet biscuits.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You also got it's very sweet, but also slightly spicy.
Oh yeah, 58% is quite hefty, and I find it more spicy. Yeah, a little bit of a peppery thing going on as well.
Peppery is a good explanation. And as I said, it's exactly the same product from the base. It's also matured 100% in bourbon casks. There's no sherry cask added. And that shows you what a difference it makes when you dilute it down to just minimal strength of 40%. It's also a little bit meaty.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it has a bit of a ham flavor going on, where the other one was more of a iodine smokiness. This is a bit of a smoked ham feeling to that.
Maybe the first one a little bit more barbecue-like. Yeah.
Oh, I like it. And when you add a little water, you have a lot more smoke to it. So
Yeah.
I did add more water to it now, and it feels more like the 40% now. Yeah.
Goes in that direction, yeah. Also a little bit leathery, I think. So I hope you enjoy it. Slange.
Slange. Ooh. When I take a cask strength and you add water, the first thing that comes to my mind when I have it in my mouth, oh, did I water it too much? And then it hits you with the full flavor and you go, yes, yeah, that was a good amount of water.
Okay. Know what you mean, yeah. But I'm gonna say, I think the cereal comes out with a little bit of water. The cereal sweetness comes out a little bit more. But to be honest, I mean, you have 58.5% ABV in your glass, but I think it doesn't punch you in the face with alcohol. You feel it here. The whiskey got more body, but it doesn't burn. And I love the oiliness. It's getting warm here. Yeah. And
There's a lot of oiliness in
Yeah.
this one.
gives you a nice mouthfeel. And I love the oiliness in it,
Yeah.
which also comes very often with a higher ABV.
What I like is when you add a little bit of water, and it just takes the edge off. It's just not as attacking as when you just have it pure. The pure cask strength for me is a little bit of attacking at the beginning, and when you take a little bit of water and it just takes the edge off, and you have to explore so much more.
Yeah.
I do love a cask strength that you have diluted a little bit. It sounds strange that why buy a cask strength when you even dilute it.
Yeah, but
Yes,
you can
because
play
I can.
around with it. Yeah, because you can. You can play around
Yeah.
with it, and you can find the right strength as you want it.
Yeah, that is the beautiful thing. You have so many dials to
Yeah.
do at the production, and with the cask strength, you can take the last dial, you can take yourself.
Exactly.
Whereas the 40%,
Totally up to you. No,
the
with
distillery
40%,
decides you get 40%.
Yeah.
And with the cask strength, you can say, oh, well, today I want a little bit more.
Exactly, and you don't want to add more water in the 40% because it's already diluted this much down. Yeah,
I think diluting a 40% might kill it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might.
I agree.
Good. So I have a little bit more for the production, and we are continuing with the mashing. And this here is the mash tun, and the mash tun produces 50,000 liters of mash. The mashing process is there to convert the starches and the sugars just into sugars, so the enzymes within the mash break up the starches and produce a very, very sugary substance, the Scottish called wort. And that wort is, the sugary substance that is perfect for the fermentation. And that happens in the washbacks, and the distillery has now 8 washbacks. They used to have 6, and they just added 2 outside.
Outside shows you that we didn't have space anymore in the inside. Yeah.
Yeah. And the washbacks are these 50,000 liters of wort. You just add yeast and then you ferment it. Before they have to cool it down. The cooling it down is very important. In the summer you have to cool down a little bit lower, and in the winter a little bit higher temperature to have an even process. And the fermentation duration is 72 hours.
That's right.
And that is, I would say, extended. It's not very, very long, but it gives the whiskey a good amount of fruitiness.
You're more on the fruity side, yeah.
Yeah.
Citrusy maybe as well.
Citrusy, fruity. You might still have a little bit of grassiness in there, and you might also still recognize it as a single malt. The maltiness will still be in there. Whereas when you go to 90 and 100, you just have fruitiness, and you recognize it as a pure schnapps if you try the
Okay.
But with the 70%, you have a good amount of fruitiness, but you still realize as a single malt. You come out with 8.5% alcohol. 8.5% is more at the lower end. Shows that the people at Laphroaig give more about the flavor than about the alcohol. Mm-hmm. Because if you would just be at the alcohol, you could easily go up to 10% with another strain of
depending on the yeast.
That is just more harsh. But the yeast is also there to produce a lot of flavors. Yeah. So picking that yeast is not the choice for maximum alcohol, but maximum flavor.
Maximum alcohol is not everything. I mean, I know now that, a lot of distilleries look into the flavor profile and into more fruitiness as well. A lot of distilleries start playing around with old varieties of barley, which disappeared for quite a while, and other yeast as well. So there's a lot to come, I think.
Yeah. Good. Do you have more questions, or should we continue with the next one?
Can continue. Do you have Brodier in your stock? Brodier is the portwood version of from Laphroaig.
Good question.
Did I catch you there?
I think we did have it. I'm not quite sure if we still.
I know that you had it in the past.
Yeah, we did have it, definitely. But if we're out of stock,
question from Portugal, which I like to answer. The Brodier is not off the market. The thing with Brodier is one bottling of 4 in the duty-free range. That means you get it at the airport normally, or at the ferry, but also at very good sorted retailers. And it's still on the go, so you should get it normally.
I think we shouldn't have got it with the Brodier, but we do sometimes get a few duty-free things. So, but what we also didn't mention is you have a live tasting also coming up. Like a live tasting in Frankfurt, right?
Yes, actually 3 of them.
Oh, okay.
Starting on Thursday already, and then until Sunday. Sunday is not a tasting, but our distillery manager, Barry McAfee, is coming over. I pick him up at the airport, and we will have a Laphroaig stall to welcome all the friends of Laphroaig, as you are as well. You got your own piece of land.
Yeah, I've actually did stand on it once. There is a YouTube video about that. An old YouTube video.
At least you visited. And it's the Inter Whisky show next week in Frankfurt, which is one of the biggest.
Okay, so if you want to see him live and have a tasting with him in person at the Inter Whisky, then have a look. I think you might be still able to get some tickets if you are quick.
Yeah, I think so. There's still space on the master classes as well, and Bardi is hosting them. We also have warehouse samples, 3 different warehouse samples, but for the different tastings, of course. Okay. Not all in one go, but
you have to get all of the tastings to get all.
Yeah, exactly. But it's always good to have something as a sample from the warehouse. Also very nice. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is.
People always look into it.
Yeah.
Cask trends, different casks. It's cool.
Good. So the last one is the Sherry Oak, and I still remember. I think from the German one. So you have 9 years of ex-bourbon casks.
Yeah.
And then you have 75% refill sherry casks
for 2 years.
For 2 years, and 25% first fill Oloroso sherry cask for 1 year.
Yes.
So first fill a bit stronger, shorter duration, and refill a bit. They have been used before
in Scotland. Refill means we already used it in Scotland. So a colleague of mine always mentioned a tea bag. The more often you use a tea bag, the less color, the less flavors you get out, and that's the same with the casks on the end. So refill can be used twice, once, whatever, and that doesn't expose so much color and flavor. So we keep it for 2 years there. And the first fill you always have to watch, not always, but you have to watch them closer than a refill, because first fill means it's a fresh sherry oak from Spain, or can be bourbon, but it's coming fresh to Scotland, and we fill our distillate there for the first time. So that extracts more flavor, more color, and this is why here there's no color added. You see, it's a kind of mahogany. Rubin color, and this is 100% from the casks. We didn't add any E150 caramel or whatever.
So
and this is kind of Christmas in the glass, I would say.
So it's a lot different. The sherry is really kicking in here. So it has a lot of red fruits in it, dried fruits in it, cherry in it. And still a lot of medicinal character, a bit of that ham character going on. Yeah. And it's really intermingling and really exciting to have in your glass.
You also have dried fruits like raisins, maybe sultanas. Yeah. And you also, especially in the taste, is a kind of woodiness. Like cedar wood, pine. I always explain it as well. Just close your eyes and remember the last walk in the forest when it's just rained. So you get all the flavors, the woody flavors, the wet flavors from the forest as well, as I think. There's also a little bit of dark chocolate going on, I would say.
And what I do like is it has 48% ABV.
Yes.
And that is a very, very nice strength. You have 46, 48. That is just a very nice strength. It's a bit heftier than a 40 or 43 one. But it's yes, but it's not as harsh as a cask strength.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's below 50 is that what you can easily enjoy still, but it has just much more kick to it.
That's what I love about our core range as well. I mean, a lot of stuff will be bottled by cask strengths like a 25 or whatever. But in the core range, you have the quarter cask, you have the lore, which is my favorite. I mean, I love them all. Otherwise, I would have the wrong job. Yeah. You have the Sherry Oak with 48, and 48 is such a nice strength. And I'm so happy that we still in the position to bottle it at that strength. It's not normal. And but 48 is a good match. It's not too much. It's not too less. And the Laphroaig flavors, typical Laphroaig flavors, will be supported by that 48%, as I say. Yeah,
I love it. Pleasure.
Glad you like it. And that's also whiskey. I mean, I enjoy Laphroaig all year. I know that's not for everybody's choice, but I don't give a shit if it's summertime or wintertime. But this whiskey is something for that kind of weather now. When we have the dark time, it's trich, as we say in Scotland, or it's getting cold and wet. We have when I arrived here on site, we had 3 degrees outside, and that's a whiskey perfectly. It's going through Christmas, and that's what sherry is all about, with the dried fruits and all that, and the spices.
Now, in my second tasting now, English is always second to the German one, is very, very Christmassy. You have that tons of dried fruit now. Before that, it was a bit more, the first try was a bit more fresh red fruits, cherry. But this is now dried fruits.
I get as well,
dried fruits all the way. I also do have a little bit of an orange touch to it, which I didn't have at all yet. But it's really, really nice. I think the Laphroaig 10 that has been here now for 1, 2, 3 years, something like that, 2.5 or something.
You mean the cask strength?
Yeah, no, the Sherry Oak.
About 2 or 3 years. Yeah.
That was celebrated a lot.
Yeah, I know.
People just love it.
The sherry is back. Yeah.
I'm really hoping that it will stay.
So do we.
If production goes up and you've built more warehouse and there will be new stills going on, and
warehouse buildings are still on the go, and we will have on-site new warehouses for about 30,000 casks.
Nice.
And but it shows here as well that the warehouses are recovering now. We're still in the boom time, of course. Whiskey is still booming, but we brought production up to full blast, and that's why we need expansion in the next time as well. So, but that's a good sign.
Yeah, it's always when you put in new wash bags, then you have to build new warehouses a year later.
It's a bottleneck, isn't it? It's a bottleneck.
If you produce more whiskey, you need more warehouses.
Yeah.
You can always sell white whiskey, but nobody wouldn't recommend that. But that is just so. I can always remember when I was little, I had to pick these bottles to have them shipped, and there was a red line there, Laphroaig Sherry, and that was really nice.
Good for recognition, yeah. But it will be with the new boxes. They will be different as well.
Okay.
The little strip will be even bigger.
Even bigger.
Yeah, that's the start of it. Yeah. So they will be, for example, I think the lower will be brownish, having a corner here. So you can recognize that right in front of you.
Okay, bit of a color or recognition coding. I like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that. So my last thing that I want to give to you as a bit of a presentation is distillation. Because distillation at Laphroaig is a bit different and strange.
Different,
As you can see here, you have 3 stills that are the wash stills. You can always see that with the red color. And then there are the smaller stills. They are with 4,700 liters of capacity. And the last one, I think, is 9,000 something.
9,600, something like that. And can I just add, in the wash still, you can also recognize by the glass.
Yeah.
There's a watching glass, so... They don't see it here, so they have
on the other side.
A red ring,
yeah,
and the spirit still has a blue ring. But that's industry standard as well. But sorry, on you go.
Yeah, yeah, and the thing is with the last still is a bit of a story behind that, because the distilling was always a little bit off, because the process was run in how it's good, and the spirit stills were always running at full capacity, and the wash stills was sometimes not running. So
or one were off or whatever.
And there was one, the first female distillery manager
in Scotland.
Always can't remember her name. Can you help me out?
Of course, I knew. I saw that coming. Then no, it's fine. That was Elizabeth Bessie Williamson.
Bessie, okay.
She was secretary at Ian Hunter's as well, and she took over, and she was the first distillery manager in 1954. It was.
And she actually went against the distillers and actually bought a bigger still and used it as a spirit still, and they had to level out the process, and that is now the process of Laphroaig, where you have 3 wash stills, 4 spirit stills, and they're not the same size.
Yeah, but the shape is the same, exactly, and that is the main thing. And on the end, everything runs into the same tank, and the system balances it out themselves.
Yeah. So we can have a look at the spirit safe, and this is where the distillers will balance that out. As you said, in the end, it will all be put together. And there are also a little bit of differences between the year. If you have a summer and winter, different temperatures, a lot of going on for the fermentation.
Your cooling water gets warmer in the summertime, so you have to watch your condensers. And a still house in the summertime is warmer than in the wintertime, so this will have a little effect.
So, but in the end, everything balances out, and this is what we know as Laphroaig today. And after you've distilled it, you water it actually down to 63.5% ABV.
Which is about industry standard.
Then about 90% of what is distilled is then filled into bourbon casks. And
got our main cask.
And that gets into the warehouses, and the warehouses are really, really nice to look at. I can always recommend, if you go to Isla and go to Laphroaig, everybody goes to the pier and has a look at the warehouse. I mean, it's so iconic,
standard, isn't it? You have to.
Yeah, and did we already mention the writing? The writing is actually very nice to look at when you go with the ferry past it. You can see
Port Ellen,
And back in the days, it was very important to have that on that, because of the ships that were sailing there to supply you actually had to read where they needed to go. So
barley, oil, whatever needed. Of course. And there's another story to it as well, because it's a white wall with a black writing, as you see. And pardon me, the white is a special white. It's very shiny by moonlight. So that comes from the past as well, when the smugglers were still around. So they went also by boat, and they could see, and they could sail overnight in the moonshine, and they saw the warehouse from quite a distance. So they always knew where to go. So the barley and the oil and all that came over day, and the smugglers needed the wall for the moonlight.
That's a nice story. So this is the nice Dunwich warehouse number 1. Let's have a look inside. And what I do like about Laphroaig is you can see at the very front there's a cask standing there, and the distillery has a lot of quarter casks as well. That is a bit unusual. I mean, there are a lot of bourbon casks around there as well, and you can see behind the first row is a big sherry cask, as we have the 10-year sherry cask. Just had that a minute ago. A lot of sherry casks as well, but quarter casks are a quarter of a sherry cask. So 125 is 500 liters of a sherry cask divided by 4. So that is smaller than bourbon cask, which is about 200 liters.
We now fill quite a fair amount of virgin casks as well.
Oh, okay.
And as we discussed in the German version as well, what I always say is you need a variety of casks. Because you don't know what your customer want to buy in 10 or 15 years time, by example. So if something changes and you don't have the stock of different casks, different varieties in your warehouse, you might lose the business. Yeah, so you never know. So you actually always look into fill different casks: sherry, bourbon, quarter cask, wine casks, Madeira, and stuff like that.
Well, that sounds nice. I'm really looking forward. But yeah, I do love the what do you call it? The portfolio of Laphroaig. You have quite a large portfolio, and that of even standard bottlings. And I do love that, because if you have some distilleries that have just one or two, there's not enough variety in there. And even the age statements are coming back, and now that you have more production, there will be more age statements, I hope. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, and some experimental stuff as well. If you now see our last bottle we brought out was the Elements 1.0. 1.0.
I think that's the next one in line for me to try.
Yeah, go for it, because
it
it's
should
rather
be
nice.
Somewhere around there.
It's very experimental, because we try different measurements of from the wash bag, and this is what the series is all about: experimental stuff. And I had a taste of it, and it's different and rather nice. It's an unusual Laphroaig, but with the kick of Laphroaig. So you will not miss the Laphroaig Peat kick. That for sure.
And the thing with experiments is nice if you try a little bit out. Customers don't tend to like if you just take a really big leap.
No.
If you just say,
just do a little,
tweaks and see how the direction goes. Yeah.
Exactly. But you can be, be under suspicion, under suspense, because that series will be rather nice. As well.
So people already decided. We had a little bit of a vote going on, which one is the best, which is a bit strange, because here in the international markets, the cask strength wasn't as good as it was in the German one. The German one, the cask strength was in number 2, but I have to say only because all of our viewers are around the world, we don't have that many viewers in the English channel, so only 9 people voted. So it's maybe a bit of a statistics going on in there. But everybody sees the sherry oak finish is the thing. And for me, my tasting preference today, or which one I like best, was also the sherry oak, and then I was going for the cask strength, and also for the 10. So it was in English and German was both the same. Usually it changes a little bit, because the mood changes, and just when you have a twice, when you have a twice, then you're like, okay, the second sip of that is really, really good, and it moves up one or something like that. So it usually changes, but for this time it just stayed the same.
But the setup of bottlings is always the same.
Yes, but usually it switches, like, now I like that one better. But the sherry was just so very good this time. I do love the sherry one. That was a very clear winner for me today.
Yeah, it's very heavy if you have it in the summertime. For me, it's even too heavy.
Yeah.
So I'm in the summertime. I would be going more for the bourbon casks.
I would probably go for the cask strength in the summertime.
Yeah. But this is Christmas. This is a Christmas rum, and that's perfect for that time outside.
Yeah, I would also say that. Yeah. Question, Laphroaig, do you trust in the season sherry casks? Do you always trust in the season sherry casks? Do you go for season sherry casks, or what's the difference? The one that you fill with sherry yourself is that about the question, or how do you interpret that question?
Quite difficult, because the sherry casks are all seasoned. When they come over from Spain, they are seasoned.
Yeah, they are seasoned in Spain. I'm not quite sure what he means with that question. I'm sorry about that.
Sherry inside, so the sherry seasons the wood.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. And do we trust in them? Yeah, I would say so.
I think that the question is about: do you trust the Spanish guys to have the same quality of sherry, or do you season them yourself?
Okay, yeah, good. Well, I would say so, because you normally have contracts with your sherry bodegas, and you work always with the same. not only one, but as a big group, Beam Suntory needs sherry casks for all the distilleries. If you see Macallan, they have shares, and I think they actually bought a whole bodega for them to be more independent. Yes, we trust in them because the quality is quite sustained. Yes, it's very reliable business. Because if they do something wrong, they will be out of the business, and they can't cope with that.
Yeah, I've actually seen a sherry bodega, and I didn't think that sherry was such a big thing because I don't know, maybe I'm just living in a little bit of a whiskey bubble.
So do I. Sometimes I think that as well.
But there are still a lot of people drinking sherry. I just have a open sherry bottle at home, but I think it will not become empty because of me.
You need to be in the mood, but sherry will be trying a lot in Spain anymore, but or as well, and but the sherry business is going downhill for years. It's this much that you have sherry bodegas. They don't bother with sherry anymore. They make vinegar out of it, or they even sometimes just empty the cask into the train and sell the cask. Because they get more money out of the cask business than they get with their own product on the end.
Yeah.
Very often.
And I've heard that Scotsmen are now seasoning their own sherry, so they take sherry and just fill in the cask. And so people said to me that is the sherry, you can control the process more. If you have it in-house, the process, then you control the process more. So
that's right. But if you have a reliable partner,
then it should be fine.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the old tradition. Okay, so I think we're pretty much through. Cool. And I still have one little bit of an advertisement. The next live whiskey tasting will be a beginner's live tasting for the 22nd of December 2023 at 2 a.m. at 2000 Eastern Central European Standard Time at 8 p.m. Or you just go to Whisky.com/live, click on it, and you will see when it will be aired in your time zone. And if you live in the Netherlands, you can go on Whisky.com and get yourself these little boxes. You can still get the ones for this Laphroaig tasting if you want to have the Laphroaig tasting again and just taste with us in a small box or in a big box. And you can get these beginners for the second day of Christmas. Isn't that the second day of Christmas?
26th.
Second day of Christmas to enjoy it in the evening with us. So, then Mark, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Very nice information, a little bit of an insight, I'm not quite sure.
Not too much.
But I really love it. And so thank you very much for watching.
I hope I don't get laid off by tomorrow.
I don't think it was that bad. So thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.